Hello, everyone. My name is Trisha,
And
I'm Mahea.
and welcome back to another episode of Develop with Me, possibly inspiring conversations. This is a podcast that we are continuously trying to do to really have conversations with each other about the things that are going on in our lives, but also like talking about the Word of God and religion and all that stuff. So, thanks for joining us. How's that intro? Is our intro getting better?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think like the more we do it, I think we can start getting more comfortable.
Just comes more naturally.
Yeah, that's the goal at least. But yeah, I think with anything, like the more we do it, we become more comfortable. And I never want this podcast to be like a stressful thing for anyone. So we're just here gonna have casual conversations. So yeah, how's your days going, Maya?
For me, yeah, I've been I was just talking about this just right before this show, but yeah, the semester just started just recently, but I feel like I've been pretty swamped with a lot of assignments already, and I'm like, wow, we just got into it and I'm already so busy. But yeah, I think considering how I'm taking like 5 classes, and usually like the past few semesters I've only been taking maybe like 3 to 4 at most, so it's really different. But with it being online, and I think I mentioned it in the previous podcast about using this assignment tracker, it's been like, wow, yeah, helping me a lot. I think just being organized and having like a set plan has been, yeah, really helping me keeping up to date with everything. But yeah, just school and work is all I've been doing.
It's so weird how like you're getting so much assignments already, like in the first like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what college is. It's normally like that, but it seems different considering the situation. Like I would expect less at this point because of like COVID.
Yeah, I know, me too. That's what I thought, but yeah, it's different from what I expected. But I think maybe it's just the amount of classes that I'm taking. That's why it seems like it's a lot, but
Oh yeah, that's true.
doing it.
Yeah, I know. I graduated like right before COVID, so I'm not really experiencing what it's like to be in school at this time. But I can imagine that like regular normal school, normal college is difficult and overwhelming at times. But so I can't imagine how much more during COVID.
Yeah, I know, not only just for like the students, but even the teachers too. Like, whenever we meet for online Zoom meetings, there's like always this professor, she's like always apologizing because it's something like super completely new to her, like even learning Zoom and yeah, teaching just strictly online. So yeah, it's understandable. Everyone's just in that phase of still getting used to this kind of learning and teaching.
Yeah, especially if like, at the school I went to, like a lot of the teachers taught online classes. Like I had a good mixture at my university of online and in person. But like if you're only teaching in person and you never taught online, then this is like a complete like 180 on you, I think. Like as a teacher to like suddenly be asked to teach everything online and you gotta like change up your whole curriculum, like that sounds stressful.
Yeah, I think a lot too about like the teachers who teach the younger like kids in elementary. Like, yeah, I don't know how they're handling that, but it seems like they're making it work. And I think the parents have a lot in of like helping their children to also learn that way.
Yeah. Now I have a couple like classmates from high school that are elementary teachers, and they seem kind of stressed. Like they just, for some of them, they just started like teaching in the mainland, and they just started distance learning, and like it's the first week of school, and they're like, oh, just finished the first week, like already, and it seems kind of stressful,
overwhelming.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be hard to like keep hold of students' attentions at those ages.
Yeah, you have to like really think of methods or ways to not have them be bored or sleepy during
Yeah,
the lecture. Yeah,
yeah, especially at those ages, they need that kind of like engagement and fun and like games, and
yeah,
they kind of like need those to like even develop themselves like
yeah,
mentally and physically. So it must be hard for the kids too, because it's like they usually depend on like social interactions to like
to really learn.
help. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I was always someone in school that always not really needed help, but I always was like depending on others to like I don't know how to say this. I was never the one to speak up in class. And
mm,
so if I had like a question, I would like wait for someone else to ask it. Or I would ask someone else,
yeah,
like the person next to me, like what's going on. But like they don't
yeah.
have people next to me.
I know. Yeah, just you and your laptop.
Yeah. It must be like isolating for some of them.
Mm,
Yeah, I think it could be it's this whole thing seems like it could be like a real big mental I mean it's a mental strain for everyone. It's a maybe a physical strain for many, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that depend on the physical interactions to like help them get through situations.
yeah,
Like like your friends and like that kind of support. And financially, everyone's struggling. Um, yeah, I was like thinking a lot about like my life in school this week. Um, like for those who I don't know watching the podcast and you see me, I'm often told that I don't look 25, which I am.
mm.
I'm often told I look younger or that I look like the same age as Mahea, but I'm 3 years older.
I know. Sometimes I forget that Trisha's older than me. I think we're around the same age too.
Everyone thinks we're the same age. It's like, no, I'm 3 years older. Yeah, because you were like a freshman in high school when I was in high school
Yeah,
still.
when you're a senior.
Um, yeah, so like people see me and like they don't really think that I'm 25. I get like 19, 20. But yeah, like at this like age, I guess like a lot of people already have like careers, and I don't know, it's kind of sometimes like discouraging because I haven't found my like ideal career yet,
Mm,
and like I'm still trying to like figure it out. I think when I was in school, like when it came to like picking a major or picking a college, well not picking a college, I just stayed local, but I guess when it came to like deciding what I wanted to major in, I didn't choose it like thinking of like my future career. Like I chose my major based on like the things that I was interested in.
yeah.
But when it came down to like learning it and like I got my degrees, and then I realized I can't get a job in this area, and and I'm switching majors, and then still not being able to find a job even after I switched majors.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like I realized that like because I went from one subject to like English, and it was a very drastic change to English, or very like separate from what I originally was doing, which was like audio and sound. So they're very, very drastically different majors.
Yeah.
I kind of threw people off when I said English. But like I chose the major because I liked my English classes, and like I felt myself like wanting to put more effort into the class. Like I felt myself taking more interest and more. I had more of a desire to get a higher grade in my English classes than my other classes. Like I was always the type to just strive for passing. My
Mm,
goal was always
barely.
just to
Yeah.
get a
As long as
yeah,
you're passing.
yeah. As long as I got a C or higher, I was good. But it wasn't until like I switched to English that I felt myself really wanting, like aiming for the A and aiming, like making the effort for the A and the B. And I was able to get those grades when I like put in the effort and put in the desire. But I think at the same time, I kind of realized, me thinking about it today, that like I wasn't like in the English to how should I say this? I didn't choose English because like I didn't choose it based on the career I was gonna get out of it. Like I chose it because I liked the class, and I think that probably wasn't the best decision to make. I don't want to say that I regret it because I try not to regret my choices because all the choices we made make us who we are today, and it's all part of the process of like developing and learning about ourselves. But yeah, I think I'm thinking about it. Like I don't think I chose it for the sake of the career. Like usually you're supposed to have a career in mind and then pick your major based off of that career.
Yeah.
But I kind of went the opposite. Like I picked a major and I was like, what kind of job can I get from this major?
Yeah.
I don't think that was probably the right choice. But, we're learning. I'm getting my life together. Possibly, hopefully.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I feel the same. But yeah, like what you said, whenever, like someone asks that question, like, oh, if you could change one thing or like a mistake that you've done, or like, would you want to redo that part of your life, or, redo your past? But then, like you said, everything that we've done up until this point is like what we made us how we are today, for great learning experiences. And yeah, like just with school too, I just find it crazy how you can be like so certain and so sure. Like this is my experience when I was like a senior in high school. I'm like, okay, I know like what I want to do. I want to get into this. Like during that time, for some reason, I don't know why, but I wanted to get into marine biology. Like, yeah, which is when I look back at it, I'm like, why? Like I don't think I would ever picture myself like really being out there in the ocean researching and doing all of that. But yeah, I think having like those high hopes that you would go into that field and maybe get a career in that, but then when you actually take the classes for it, it's not something you really envision yourself doing. And I think, yeah, like it can be really like discouraging. Like, okay, you thought you had your life set, the path that you wanted to take was there, but it wasn't. And even like now too, since like the semester just started, I like we have time to like talk to other students sometimes, like, oh, what are you majoring in? And then sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this is like my third major I'm switching into. And sometimes it could make me feel like a bit insecure because I'm like, oh, I wish I just had that one major like I settled on and was happy with. But then I thought, there's so many other people too in the world who's gone through like the same thing, like you and me, and like just hearing stories about it like makes me feel better about myself. Like, okay, I'm not alone. Yeah, I think that's another important thing to remember too, is that you're not alone. Like you're not the only person with midlife crisis and not knowing what to do with your life or in terms of a career. But yeah, but I don't regret either like everything that I've decided up until this point, because I'm kind of glad to go through that kind of experience and learn from it, because who knows, maybe someone or even a person listening to this might be going through the same thing too, so we can share our experiences. But yeah, I like you said, what did you say? Choosing a
Your
career, yeah, before, oh wait, how did you word it?
I chose my career based on, or I chose my major based on what is it?
Yeah.
We can go back to the audio later.
Whatever was mentioned prior, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there reminded, like when I was doing audio, I was like you said, I was set on audio like from like freshman year of high school. Like first day of high school, freshman year, they asked what we wanted to be for a career. I said audio engineer. I was like, I wanted to work in studios. I wanted to record. I wanted to like help make music. And then when it came down to the classes, I hadn't realized how much science was involved in it. And I'm not a science person. I was never a science person. That was not one of my strong subjects. So to be in this major that was like strongly science and like learning about all the technical, like with audio engineering, like the big thing that they taught us was that before you can get creative, you have to understand the basics, like understand the technicality, the technical part of it. Because if you master that, then you can be creative and have the room to,
Yeah,
have
like
fun.
that foundation first.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't get past that foundation. That's the thing. I couldn't reach the creative stage because I was struggling with understanding the concepts. And like I was like barely passing my tests. I was doing the work just enough to pass. But then when it came down to actually doing the work out of college, like after I got my associates, I realized that I didn't know what I was doing. I realized that I didn't feel confident enough in this subject to be able to do it like by myself as a career for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then I went to university, and I knew I was going to switch out of like my the like audio related major that they had. But I didn't know what to switch in, and I took English classes, and I was like, oh, I really like these. These are really interesting. And so I made the switch like shortly after. Well, there was one semester that I was debating between two subjects, and like I planned my schedule where I was taking half of each so I could experience both. And I ended up going for English. And I really liked the class. It was really fun, and I felt really engaging in the content. But I was at the same point where I was like, I'm not studying this for the sake of a career. I'm studying this for the sake of understanding this, like for the sake of like doing well in the class.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like striving to get as much out of the class as possible so I can use it for a career. I was just learning.
Yeah, I think when that happens, it's like a red flag. Like, oh, maybe it's time to start rethinking what you really want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm at, where I have all these degrees. I have this bachelor's degree. I have associates. I even have a certificate in Hawaiian language. But that was just a happy coincidence that I got that. And so now I'm like, well, what do I do now? I'm 25 already. Like, people my age are getting families and stuff, and I'm like kind of still stuck in this like wanting a career and deciding whether I should go back to school to get like a master's. But then I'm like afraid that like, oh, what if I'm like in the same boat where after I get my master's, and I still can't figure out what it is that I want. But I wouldn't have been able to realize this unless I went through like audio class and I went through English. I wouldn't have realized these things without doing those things. So it's interesting how life works. Like to do things.
Yeah, you never know the curveballs it'll throw at you.
Yeah. No, I read this like post on Instagram. I shared it on my story on my personal Instagram. It was basically talking about this one person was saying that like her brother was like 26, earning like 200,000 a year in this career, and he's happy and stuff. But it's a career that was completely different from what he majored in. And like the whole post was like just sharing about like this person's like all the people that this person knows were all in jobs that were different from what they majored in. And the whole point of the article of like the post was to say that no one really knows what they're doing. You could be 26 and have an ideal career, or you could be 21 and have your ideal career, or you could be 27 and still struggling to figure out that. And it's like there's like a lot of people who like major in one thing but then get a career in something completely different, and then they still end up happy. Like it's just about going through life, and like we're all kind of stumbling, and we're all kind of just going through the motions, and then we wind up with careers we would have never thought. And I thought that when I read that, I was like, wow, that's really me right now.
Yeah.
I'm just like hoping that I can find something. And even if it's not in my major, like if I can find something that I'm like happy
with. Yeah.
Then that's all I want.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one thing I learned too, is that trying to find that happiness, like everyone's path or like how long it takes to get there is going to be different. And I think like once you start to compare yourself with others, like, oh, you know, this person's already doing this or they have that, and I'm still like at the beginning, like if you think of it as like a race or something and they're already nearing the finish line. But yeah, like everyone has different times and different pace, and it's okay, I think, to not always go with like the flow, you know, do things at your own pace. But as long as you get to that destination, and then like you said, getting to where you'll be happy, even if it's not related to what you've been doing to lead up to that point. But yeah, I think just not being discouraged and not giving up is what
Yeah.
makes it, yeah, really worth it.
Yeah, and I think it's also just like whatever you do decide to do, um, you know, like whatever people end up doing, you should do it like with just like try your best in like
Yeah.
whatever, and like put in your best effort in whatever job, in like the hard work and effort and dedication into whatever that is. And I think that also would kind of make it worth it, like if you really put in the hard work and effort. Like if I were like let's say I did major in English like from the very beginning and that's what I wanted to do, I would only be able to get a job if I really put in the effort to really immerse myself in the subject and really put in the effort to really understand everything.
Yeah.
And also like thinking about the career at the same time. I think it's really important to make the right decisions, but it's also looking at all aspects of the decision and not just looking at one thing, which is what I did. I think I was only at like one aspect of it, but it's like looking at it from all angles, and then I think that makes the decision easier.
Yeah, I know. It can be so easy to just look at things from like a fixed perspective, but yeah, looking at it from different angles, I think, will really help you overcome like any obstacles you might face. But yeah, I think average effort doesn't cut it, you know, like it'll crumble so easily. But like you said, you really have to put in the effort, and even if it's hard or it might be difficult, but it'll all be, yeah, worth it because you've put in that extra effort and you really made like the memories together, like building up until that point. I think that makes it all like you just feel more,
Invested.
yeah, you put like all that investment in time, so it feels more satisfying, I think, when you get to that point. Yeah, instead of just like, oh, you did things half-heartedly up until that point, and then it's kind of like when you get there it's like, oh, nothing too exciting.
Yeah, I think in school I was very like, even in like just high school and stuff, I was always just like getting by and just doing enough
Me too.
to get by, but I wasn't a hardworking student. Let's just say that. I barely got by with C's and B's, and I wasn't trying. But like now I'm at a point where I'm like, now I want to try. Now I want to put in the effort and hard work to really, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's maybe had that burnout point. Like for me, it was senior year. I got like hit with senioritis so hard. Like all of a sudden my motivation just just went down. But then yeah, I think it's still good, like even if it's like after high school where we finally, you know, have that determination to want to do better again and put in the effort more rather than not even getting to that point at all.
Yeah. But yeah, back to like what I said, it's like every someone else on someone I follow's story was saying that like you have to appreciate all the events that you go through because all those events make you who you are like today. And like even if it's bad things that happen to you, you have to kind of appreciate it because it makes you and it just becomes part of the story you make about your life, like all the stages that you go through, the mistakes you go through, the decisions you make, all like kind of shape us. But yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, life itself is just like this big learning process, and I love it because I love learning. But there's, setbacks, and just to not be discouraged in the process, but to really learn from everything.
Mm.
And yeah, and then like make yourself after learning. And like, yeah, which is all like the whole thing about this podcast and the whole thing about like the YouTube channel is like really like kind of just a process of making like ourselves and making and developing ourselves to be the best that we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all a learning process where you just gotta try different things, which is what I like about the other YouTube videos that I'm, trying to do. I haven't been doing them, so I apologize for not posting much other than the podcast. But the point of those videos was to like try my hand in different things, see what I like, see what my strengths are, see what my weaknesses are, and just like kind of documenting the process. But it's like things like that, and just in general, just like trying different things, and it's all part of like the learning process where we're learning about ourselves, learning about life, and then learning about maybe even life after this life.
Mm.
It's like also like about investing in the right things. Just like not putting your heart and like all your effort into anything, but it's really about investing your life into the right things so that you get like the right benefits, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even with like life of faith when it comes to religion and like the word of God and like your relationship with God, if you put in the effort to really even develop that to get closer to God, that too you also like receive according to like the effort you put in. And so if you really like make your like develop even your life of faith that much more, I think you'll be better in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Babbling, I don't know if any of those words
No, that made sense.
Okay, good. But yeah, I think this has been a great episode. I feel like if anything comes up, we can talk about it in the next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. We can
always
pick up where we left off.
Yeah, we can always revisit.
Yeah, because I feel like in a way, like a lot of the podcasts have been somewhat connected to each other. Like it seems to kind of continue throughout. I feel like from what we've done so far.
Yeah, and that's not planned. Nothing's
Yeah.
planned. This is just a very casual conversations and hoping that it helps people, whoever is listening. So yeah, if anyone who's listening has anything that you guys want to hear us talk about, you can also, I don't have an email set up for this yet, but you can message the YouTube link.
Yeah.
At
Suggestions.
YouTube. Yeah. I don't know if there's a way to reach me through. I'll put out a way to reach us. So put your suggestions in, and then we can also, do that. I was thinking maybe even in the next one or in the future ones, we can even just have conversations over like food and just like bring our own.
Like
and those who listen
and deep talks.
Yeah. Yeah. And those who are listening, you can always, join in with your own dinner or lunch or whatever time you're listening to this in the day. Breakfast maybe if you're driving to work. But yeah, so thanks everyone for tuning in, listening. Stay tuned for more episodes like this, and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. We're open to suggestions, and yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Bye.